So you've been drawing your own Celtic knots and you're ready to take them to the next level. Today I'm going to show you 10 easy ways to embellish your Celtic art. Coming right up. Hi everyone, I'm Carrie Buziak of AON Celtic Art. I'm a published author and a Celtic artist teaching modern techniques in ancient art. I've been teaching this method on my website for the last 25 years and also in my book, Creating Celtic Knotwork by Dover Publications. Before we get started today, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring that little bell. Come on, you know you want to. This week I'm going to show you 10 easy ways to embellish your Celtic knots. Give them a little bit more detail and add a personal touch to them. You don't need the grid paper this week, we're just going to work on knot examples, so grab some of your previous week's work and let's get started. Embellishment number 1, stippling. You'll see that a lot of these embellishment techniques essentially accent or highlight the overs and unders of our knots. Stippling is one of the easiest ones you can do. Usually you do it in pen after you've finished inking the outlines of your knot. The biggest advice I can give you is to start light and go darker as you go. Don't start off too dark in the beginning because there's no way to remove those dots after you get going if it's too dark. Begin with a light dusting of dots to accent those unders, making it look like there's a shadow from the knot line going above it. Just keep building up the density of the dots as you go, so they'll be quite heavy when it's looking like it's going to be passing under the knot strand, and then kind of feathering or fading it off as it gets further away from that underneath part. Again, this technique is usually done in ink and as part of your finishing process when you're doing the outlines of your knot. Embellishment 2, shading. Shading is a very similar effect to the stippling, but it's a lot softer. So it's very good for you doing in pencil when you're going to apply those over and unders to give it, again, that look of a shadow kind of passing over that lower part. The benefit of shading is it doesn't have to be in black, whereas the stipple is quite strong, definitely a blacker area. You can do this as light or as heavy as you want. You can also do it in different colors using watercolor or colored pencils. You can also use it to mix two colors together. So as opposed to that green fading to white, here we have the purple fading to a blue color, for example. Embellishment number 3, hatch lines. These are a very simple way to accent your knot. To me, it also gives your knot a very rustic, ancient kind of feel. To add this embellishment, make a small line coming from the unders. It can either be a single or a triple line. I find more than 3 it gets a little kind of busy and you lose the effect. But 1 to 3 lines would work really well depending on the thickness of your knot. If it's a very skinny knot, of course, maybe just use 1 line. A fatter knot like this, 3 with them kind of staggered like this looks quite pretty, I think. Embellishment 4, chevrons. A chevron is a V shape, or as you'll see on our knots here, it kind of looks like a stumpy triangle. Again, we're going to accent the over and under areas with it. The chevrons can be left plain white or they can be shaded up. You can even stack them as you see here, making kind of a trippy knot. It also gives a little bit of a wood carving look to it as though those triangles have been chiseled out. Embellishment number 5, double outlines, version A. Usually these extra outlines are added in ink after you outline your main outlines. So you just follow that outline around, coming in by an even amount as you go, and just echo that outside edge around. You can come in by just a little bit as you see here, or by a little more, and you can change that line thickness of that inner line as well. Adding these extra outlines gives you a chance to color your knot a little differently. So you end up with a little bit of a piping and a different color around the outside, which can be a nice effect. Embellishment number 6. Double outlines, version B. These double outlines are similar as the last ones we did, but instead of coming in from an even amount from all edges, in this one it does not come in along that edge where it would go under the other knotwork strand. So I'll show both of them here so you can see the difference between them. In A, It came in an even amount all around. But in B, where it passes under another knotwork strand, that inner line comes right up to that main edge. And when you color your knots, it gives it a little bit different effect between the two techniques as well, as you can see here. Embellishment number 7, the dotted outline. So you see this quite frequently in the old manuscripts. Here in the Book of Kells, you see these tiny little red dots that they use to surround the artwork. It's a nice touch to add to your designs if you want to give it that old manuscript feel. These dots were always little red dots, but of course you can feel free to change that in your work. Embellishment number 8, borders. So borders are a very easy thing to add to your design, especially if you're going to be coloring it. One way is to follow the outside edge of your knot, almost like you're adding a little bit of piping around the design so it follows the outside shape. Or you can drop it into a box, as you see here. This is how you would traditionally see it done in the Book of Kells or Lindisfarne Gospels. They frequently enclose different design elements in different boxes or frames. Embellishment number 9, dividing lines. This embellishment is really fast to do, but it adds a little bit extra detail to your design. Simply come into the halfway mark of your knotwork strand and follow it around. So essentially you're dividing each knotwork strand into 2. Again, it's really quick and easy to do, but it does add a lot of detail to your work, especially if you're coloring it, because each part can be colored differently. Embellishment number 10, chevrons and lines. Many of these embellishments can be used in combination, but the chevrons and lines together give a really particular effect that I want to show you. So you see in the upper left, that was our old chevron design, and you're just connecting those little peaks on the triangles together with a line. I just love the look of the finished effect on this one. It looks like it's been carved or chipped out of stone, or maybe it's beveled metal or a gemstone or something. It just has a really cool effect to it. I want to share it with you guys. And you can imagine if you took all these broken up areas now, you could really do some neat shading with them to accent that effect. I'll include a worksheet for you guys again in the comments below, so you have an easy cheat sheet that you can reference as you play around with your own knots. So those are some easy ways you can add a little bit of detail and personality to your knots. Keep in mind you don't have to use just one. You can mix and match between them and make your work really stand out. If you run into trouble, of course, just leave a comment in the remarks below and I'll try to answer as best I can. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and ring that little bell before you go so you don't miss any future tutorials. These and many other techniques are covered in my book, Creating Celtic Knotwork by Dover Publications. If you would like to support me or my channel, please consider becoming a patron. I'll put the link below. There's a whole bunch of different tiers to choose from. That's it for this week, everyone. Bye!